Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. I shouldn't have messed with it, but I wanted to put his head in a... Oh, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
कुछ बिहारी भगवान की जय।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna. Welcome to Shrimadbhagavatam class, Dev Sadan Mandir. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 6, Text 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhakti Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Hare Krishna. Again, we are reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, Text 11. Sfitanjanapadaस्तत्र puragrama brajakaran khetakharva tavatischa vananyu pavananicha Sfitanjanapadaस्तत्र puragrama brajakaran khetakharva tavatischa vananyupa vananicha Sfitanjanapadams tatra puragrama prajakaran khetakharva tavatischa vananyupa vananicha. We'll do word for word. Sphitan, very flourishing. Janapadan, metropolises. Tatra, there. Pure, pura. Towns. Grama, villages. Braja, big farms. Akaran, mineral fields, mines. Kheta, agricultural lands. Kharvata, valleys. Vati, flower gardens. Cha, and Vanani, forests. Upavanani, nursery gardens. Cha, and translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests. You can repeat. After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests. Report. Man's activities in agriculture, mining, farming, industries, gardening, etc. were all on the same scale as they are now, even previous to the present creation. and the same activities will remain as they are, even in the next creation. After many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is started by the law of nature, and the history of universe repeats itself practically in the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavations without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Sri Narada Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for single movement with economic development. Although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries, he continually went on progressive spiritual emancipation. Shrimadbhagavatam is the repetition of history which happened some hundreds of millions of years ago. As it is said here, only the most important factors of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. Om Ajnanatim Salakya Chachurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Rave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadami Bhagavati Swapadam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Padagam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagajatam Saganargunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalavitam Shri Visatham Vitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavan Shruti Devi Pranamam Vanchakalpataru Vesha Kripashti Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Tarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm very grateful to be present here. So I'd like to start by paying my obeisance to Sri Krishna. By His mercy, everything is created, preserved, and annihilated at the end. I'd like to pay my obeisance to Naranarayana Rishi. I'd like to pay obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees, by whom this Grantaraj, by whom for us to go back to Krishna is available, and pay my obeisance to Veda Vyasa, by whose mercy this Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam is for us available. And special gratitude and obeisance to Srila Prabhupada. He translated all those Sanskrit literature in English language just for us, to get the benefit with all kindness in his heart. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we'll do a little bit of recap. We go through whatever we went. So from the very first verse, Veda Vyasa starts by paying obeisance to Lord Sri Krishna, who is son of Vasudeva. He says, "O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because He is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of manifested universe. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation, and He is independent because there is no other cause beyond Him. It is He who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By Him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen in water. Only because of him do material universe temporarily manifested by the reactions of three modes of nature appear factually, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representations of material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So this is Lord Sri Krishna, and this is how Vedavyasa starts Shrimadbhagavatam. It's very nice, and it gives us the representation where we can meditate upon, what we are meditating upon. So he gives the everything in detail, whole detail. So this is how he starts, and then he starts the story of Shrimadbhagavatam by the sages. So there were sages gathered in Naimisaranya, forest of Naimisaranya. So they were gathered just to please Krishna, just to please the Lord Hari. That is why just they gathered. And among them was Saunaka Rishi and Suta Goswami. And now Saunaka Rishi and other rishis, they made an asana for Suta Goswami, and he started asking questions. And those questions were very beautiful. They were asking, so what is the most beneficial for all humanity? And they were asking about Krishna and all his incarnations. They were asking about now whom to take shelter after Krishna is gone. Where should he take shelter for Dharma? So these kind of questions they were asking, and in chapter 2 and chapter 3, Suta Goswami is answering all these questions. And chapter 2 is very, very essential. Very, very essential. A lot of nice questions were answered by Suta Goswami in very nice way. So here it says, the supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So here Suta Goswami is talking about what is the best thing to do. So most, like we say, being a doctor is good, being an engineer is, what is good? Whatever you be doctor or be engineer, we do it for Krishna. That is devotional service. And that service for doing Krishna, doing everything for Krishna, it should be uninterrupted. It should be just doing 24 hours, just doing everything for Krishna. That is when devotional service. So many things like this he is answering. He says like life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. It should be, one's desire should only be for healthy life, self-preservation. Since human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. We need to know what is the absolute. And here, and here in the first verse it says, absolute truth is Krishna. He established in the first person. And our human nature should be to inquire for Krishna. We should know Krishna. And by rendering devotional service unto personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge, all knowledge and detachment from this world. So this is the process of rendering service to Krishna. What it does, it will give us the knowledge necessary and give us the detachment from this material world by which we suffer. So there were a lot of talks about super soul, and there are a lot of talks about Sattva good, Raja good, Tamo good, and why we have to take shelter of Sattva good. And Lord Vishnu, Lord Hari is symbolizing the Sattva good, and we have to take his shelter. and then we can attain the most benefit in human life. So that is why we also do our activities in Sattva. What kind of food we eat? Sattvic food. What kind of behaviors we have? Sattvic. We should follow the regulative principles and we should conduct our lives accordingly. Now also there is, by regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Now okay, we understood we have to serve Krishna, but our lifetimes of practice, forgetting Krishna, doing all the nonsense, now this practice comes, right? How to destroy this practice and always remember Krishna? So here it is saying by regular attendance in Bhagavatam class or by serving pure devotees of the Lord. So doing these two things will help us ensure that our love for Krishna will be established within our heart. So like this, he says in lot of things in chapter 2. Now in chapter 3, he is describing about all the incarnations of Sri Krishna. From the incarnations of Matsya Avatar, Avatar, all the way from Narada Muni, even before Narada Muni, all the, so some of the incarnations. So there, he says there are many incarnations. We can't describe so many incarnations. Krishna takes in many forms and he comes whenever it's needed, right? He comes. Even in all of those incarnations, here he says, Ete chamsa kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indraribhyakulam lokam mudayanti yuge yuge. So he says all these incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna, he is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on the planets whenever there is disturbance created by the atheists. Lord incarnates to protect the theist. So whoever is Krishna's devotee, Supreme Lord's devotee, he comes to protect him. Lord always comes to protect him in any form. In one of the forms, like for Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimhadev appeared in so many ways. So this is what we covered in chapter 2 and chapter 3. And in chapter 3 at the end, Sutta Goswami was saying, we have to take shelter of Shrimadbhagavatam. Because after Lord Sri Krishna departed, now Veda Vyasa wrote Shrimadbhagavatam for us to benefit from. So this is where we have to take shelter. We have to take shelter in Krishna's words and Shrimadbhagavatam. And now again in the chapter 4, again questions. Sutta Goswami is asking questions to Saunaka Rishi is asking to Sutta Goswami. Again questions. So in what period and what place was first began, and why was this taken up? From where did Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva get this inspiration? So Vyasadeva, he wrote the Shrimadbhagavatam. Where did he get the inspiration? And how did it so happen? King Parikshit made the great sage, right? How did it all happen? King Parikshit made the great sage, and Sukadeva Goswami and told the Shrimadbhagavatam. So all these questions he is asking. So Sukadeva Goswami, he was, he was a kind of person, he would stay only like one day in anybody's house. So how come he came there and stayed for 7 days and gave Srimad Bhagavatam? So all these questions he's asking again. What happened? All this. And now Sutta Goswami again he is answering all these questions on chapter 4 and chapter 5. So in chapter 4, he was talking about Vyasadeva, how Vyasadeva was offering obeisances in the morning, and then while doing that, he was not satisfied. he wrote lot of scriptures. He wrote so many scriptures. He wrote 4 Vedas. He wrote Upanishads. He wrote Puranas, and then he wrote Mahabharata. And then he is still not satisfied. Still something feels missing in his heart. And that is when he was thinking, because I might have not written about Krishna very nicely. That is why I am feeling this dissatisfaction. And that is when Narad Muni just comes. Narad Muni just comes. And he just appears. And that is what chapter 5 is about. Chapter 5 is appearance of Sri Narada. So he comes and he already knows. He just knows that he is feeling unsatisfied. Like here he says, monist concentration. He was transcendental to being unmarried. So while Vyasadeva was following his son, so when Narada Muni came, right? Now Narada Muni is giving giving instruction to Vyasadeva. So how he is giving is here. See, your inquiries were full and your studies were also fulfilled. There is no doubt you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequence, elaborately explained. So, he has written all the scriptures. Mahabharata, which has everything. Now, Sri Vyasadeva said, now here, he says, you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived from there. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking you are undone, my dear Prabhu? So he is asking in such a way that you did all this and why are you thinking like, oh, you feel unsatisfied? Right? Why are you feeling unsatisfied? Then now Vyasadeva says, that everything I did is perfect, but he approached the Supreme Lord by other means. He did not address him directly. So Shrimadbhagavatam is all about addressing Krishna directly. There are many other ways, many other forms of yogas, many other forms we can approach Krishna, we can know Krishna. Some people meditate, some people do yoga, some people do breathing, some people, lot of ways, many different ways by which we can know Krishna. But the best and easiest way, what is the best and easiest way? Address Krishna directly, address the God directly. What happens when we address the God directly? We don't have trouble, we don't have to face the troubles of going this and there, here and there. Things will happen easy and direct, very easily. So this is what Vyasadeva, he's expressing his thing, and he's asking like, Narada Muni, now you tell me, so your goodness, you travel everywhere in this three world, you are like air that penetrate internal region of everyone. Now you tell me, what should I do? And then Narada Muni, he is giving instructions to Vyasadeva to write now Shrimadbhagavatam. So here Narada Muni says, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. So, by other means, right? We try to approach God. It might be pleasing for one person only. But once we address Krishna directly, we are pleasing Him. And now if we think about it, like, if He is pleased, He can do everything for us. What we can do? Very little things. How much power we have? Very little. Right? Although great says, you have very broadly described the four principles. You have not described the glories of Supreme Personality Vasudeva. So he says, you have done everything, but you have not described Sri Krishna, Supreme Personality of Vasudeva. So describe about him, Vasudeva, describe about his pastimes. That is what he is saying. After he's written all the scriptures, now he is instructing to write Shrimadbhagavatam. Now he is saying those words which does not describe the glories of the Lord cannot sanctify the whole universe. Like if he is utter the name of Krishna, it just purifies the whole universe. He is that kind of supreme Lord. So it has the potency, it has the power. The name of Krishna, it has the power. That is why he is instructing. Do describe about him. On the other hand, so here he is saying, knowledge of self-realization, even though free from material affinity, does not look well if devoid of conception of infallible God. So there are a lot of knowledge of self-realization. There are ways of self-realization. They say just meditate on your breath and you'll get to know God. That is also true. Even Krishna agrees that. Right? There are a lot of ways. Just sit in silence and meditate. That will also do. Everything will be done. But even though they don't have like sense gratification, right? But still, it is not complete. It won't be complete until and unless Krishna is addressed directly. Other means what happens? It will be slow process. And how much slow we can understand for how many lifetimes we have been in this material world, and how many more lifetimes we want to be in this material world. Do we want to be? How many more lifetimes we want to be? No, right? So in this lifetime we want to finish Krishna consciousness, right? We want to reach Krishna. So this is the best way. Addressing Krishna directly is the best way. That is what he is saying. So, O Vyasadeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated truthfulness, and thus you can think of the pastimes of Lord in trance for the liberation of people in general from all material bondages. So Vyasadeva, his senses are perfect. He has been trained properly with a proper disciplic succession, and everything is correct, right? That is how now he is in such a position, he can just meditate on Krishna and he can write about his glories. And that is what Narada Muni is addressing him, to write about his glories in such a way that whoever listens this Shrimadbhagavatam, what will happen? They can get liberated and come back to Godhead. So this is what Shrimadbhagavatam. That is why Maharaj Parikshit, he was receiving this Shrimadbhagavatam at the time of his death. So this is how the Shrimadbhagavatam came to place. So whatever you desire in separate vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names to agitate the mind. So other things, whatever we explain about this body is this. See, there is this chakra. We have to raise the power here, and then we'll understand God. But what happens? Here Krishna does not come in this statement, right? This is true. If you raise the chakra, all this, Krishna will be known. But what happens when we try to do all this and give all this instruction? Now Krishna's mercy won't shower upon us. But just we sit here and say the name Krishna, all those things Krishna will take care. He will take care of all this chakra business and everything. Everything he will just shower mercy, because at the end anyway he is the one who gives us the intelligence to go back home. So this is what he is saying. It's very nice, very nice chapter. So people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable, because they are guided under your instructions. They will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibition. So this is very bold statement he is saying, Vyasadeva. So Narada Muni, he is saying to Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, he wrote all these scriptures, right? So these scriptures now people can misunderstand and misuse, because okay, so there is Anahata Chakra here, there is Vishuddhi here, now you just rise the chakras. How do we do that? It is very easy to misunderstand. How do we do? We don't know. Yes, it is a perfect, by the other processes also, it is perfect in itself, but it might be misunderstood, he is saying. All the other processes are good. Okay, meditate upon Krishna, or you can meditate upon something, just meditate. That is also perfect, but can we? Mind goes here, mind goes there, right? So all the instructions is perfect, but he is saying those instructions may be misused, misinterpreted in the name of religion, because Veda Vyasa wrote, because Veda Vyasa wrote this, so I will just do this. Now this kind of people will think, and they might not address Krishna directly. So that is what he is saying, just to make sure people will not be misguided and will not do any other activities in the name of religion. That is why he is saying, right, Shrimadbhagavatam, the Supreme Lord is unlimited, only very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness, deserves to understand this knowledge. So only this, so when we try to approach anything in this material world, suppose we want to know something, how long does it take just to know something, and you are still not knowing? Let's say I want to be a doctor. Just to be a doctor, let's say only about teeth, I might have to read like 4 or 5 years, and still I am not done perfect, right? There are more specialities which I have to keep just learning throughout the life, right? Just to know about this teeth, then say knowing about the universe and knowing about Krishna, how long it might take if we just think. So if we approach Krishna in this material way, it might take a long time. It might, yes, we'll reach there. Yes, definitely we'll reach there, because we have a desire, Krishna will slowly fulfill. But it might take a long time. But we address Krishna directly, chant his name directly. Then what happens? All the deceptions in our mind, he clears. We just take shelter. Okay, Krishna, I want to just take your shelter, and I just want to remember you. You take me. I don't have the intelligence. Then we express our feelings like that. Then he will take us. He will lift us to him. So one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in the immature state. Yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. So sometimes when we come to this bhakti and Krishna consciousness, right, we say, okay, Krishna, I want to remember you only all the time. But what happens? Once we go somewhere else, no association, no satsang, our mind forgets, right? But Krishna, he is assuring, don't be worried. Once you have taken the shelter, slowly he will give us the remembrance and bring back and keep our mind again in him. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says to Arjuna, declare it boldly, Arjuna, my devotee never perishes. That is how he is saying, my devotee never perishes. So this is what happens when you take shelter of Krishna, you chant his glories. So persons who are actually intelligent, philosophically inclined, should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not obtainable from the topmost planet. So we should not aspire for, let's say, a little bit wealth, maybe a nicer house, better than this one, right? And nicer clothes and these things. These are very cute, very nice things. But how much we are gonna live? And again, what will that give? Because the real happiness will only be attained going to Krishna. My dear Vyasa, even though devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes fall down, somehow or the other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like other fruitive workers. Like other fruitive workers, like let's say we only work our whole life just to satisfy our senses and just to satisfy our needs. What happens? Now we have to get the reactions of all those works. We might go to hell or other hellish planets and get all those reactions, then again come back to life again, and we don't know what kind of life we might get. It's a very risky business. But taking to Krishna, we just direct, straight on highway, no other way. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is himself the cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. So he is the whole cosmos. He is everywhere, but he is not touched by it. There are three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. He is away from this. These three modes has been made this material universe, all the universe. But he is just away. He is beyond. But he is still in this universe. He is everywhere. Like Narsingadev came out of a pillar, because Narsingadev was always in pillar. So he is like everywhere. Whatever we see, he is always there. But he is not dependent. It's our eyes that we are not able to see him. And he is not dependent to anything. We are dependent to food, prasad, right? And then we are dependent to air, lot of things we are dependent. He is not. He is just there. So here, learned circles have positively concluded that infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, charity, culminates into transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in so is poetry. So this verse is saying, like, doing all those things, advancement in knowledge, doing lot of tapasya, meditation, and all those, lot of studies of Vedas, lot of sacrifices, lot of singing and dancing, lot of charity, everything. Why do we do? It culminates in the transcendental description of the Lord. So we just sit here, listen about Krishna. Krishna and whatever pastimes he has done, very wonderful pastimes. Just simply by sitting here and doing this, all those things will be done. No need to go through all these things. It will be just done. So now here, after saying all these things, now he is describing his own story. Narada Muni is his own stories. So in the previous lifetime, Narada Muni, he was born of a son of a certain maid servant, engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta when they were living together during the 4 months of rainy season. So his mother, Narada Muni's mother, was a just maid, simple maid. And then 4 Brahmanas came. So Brahmanas came and they lived for 4 months. And while living for 4 months, what happened? Narada Muni, he got the opportunity. Now he got the opportunity to serve them. And now he served them, and then by their permission he took their remnants of the food, and he served them, and he got the association by the association of those, and they were describing the attractive activities of the Lord Krishna. And thus, listening attentively, what happened? Narada Muni, his taste for Krishna, that got inspired. So this is what happens when we listen more and more about Krishna. Our taste for Krishna will get more deepened inside of us. So we have to listen more. So here, O great says, as soon as I got the taste of personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings for both the Lord and I are transcendental. So he is saying, like, it was just my stupidity that I accepted this body as mine. Right? That is how he is saying, he is expressing his feeling. Because the Lord, he is transcendental. And he has made all of us also transcendental. All of our soul also part and parcel of Krishna. That means it is also transcendental. But have we realized? No. Do we have the experience? No. We only have the experience of the five senses. Right? From the five senses, whatever experience we are gathering and we are thinking, oh, this is my body, this is my mind. Right? But this is not it. Right? This was me who I took it. This is my body and this is my mind. That is why I was in this problem. That is what he is saying. And during these seasons, he constantly heard about Krishna, and then he was attached to those sages and their good behaviors and all those. And as they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantists who were kind to the poor-hearted soul instructed me in this confidential service. So now those Brahmanas, they instructed Narada Muni how to approach Krishna. They gave him the guidance. That is how spiritual master also, when he comes here, we take initiation, he will guide us what to do, how to approach Krishna, how to do the japa. We have to inquire from him. And by the confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of energy. We say influence of Maya. Krishna's energy. It's no different. But we will only realize it by knowing this confidential knowledge. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita we say, confidential knowledge, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. Yes. O Brahmana, Vyasadeva, it is declined by the Lord that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries to dedicate one's activities to the service of Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead. So if we have any of the troubles, any of the miseries, so here he is saying how to remove it. How do we remove it? We have to dedicate our activities to the service of Supreme Personality of the Godhead. That is when our troubles and miseries will be removed. So like this lot of good things he was explaining in chapter 5. Now we are here in chapter 6. And in chapter 6 also Vyasadeva now again he is asking. He wants to know more, because when Narada Muni said all this story, right? Now he wants to hear more about what happened after that, right? How did your life change? Those Brahmanas came, right? And then what happened? How the life changed? So, and now Narada Muni he is saying, like, after hearing all this message also, what happened? His mother was very loving to him, very, very loving to him. Though she did not have like lot of wealth. She was a maid servant. She was just maid servant, but she was very nicely loving him, very nicely. So he was taken care, and he was just remaining attached to his mother and just being there because too much love was there, right? And now what happened? One time snake bite her mom and she died. And now how did he took it? Now we might say, oh, he only had 5-year-old and he only had his mother and whom she was loving him very nicely. Now we think, oh, why did the bad things happen to good people, right? This kind of things. No, but how he took it, Narada Muni is like, I was only attached to him. I only attached to her, my mom, right? I was only attached to my mother. So Krishna, to remind me to come to him, he took my mother away from me. That is how he took it. So by this approach, now he started heading towards north. And by he started heading towards north, now we are here. And in today's verse, we say, after my so here today's verse, after my departure, I passed through many flourishing and metropolises, towns, villages, animals, farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural world. So he is passing through all those things. After his mother died, now he is heading to see Krishna, to meet Krishna, right? He just wants to meet more Brahmanas. So those Brahmanas who came and then stayed there for 4 months, they advised Narada Muni to chant and remember Krishna in certain way. So he is trying to follow them, right? And he is starting to go north to find more Brahmanas and take shelter of Krishna and always remember him. So in this way, he is just heading, and when he is going, he is passing through all these kind of lands, flower valleys, agricultural lands, all these industries, all these things he is saying, and he is just walking. He just, see, he could go in any of the towns or any of the villages, whatever he is seeing, any of the farms, any of the mines, agricultural land. He could go in any of those things and he could just get the earning, but he didn't do. He just kept walking towards Krishna. This is how our mentality should be, just to Krishna. Other things, whatever is necessary to get a healthy life, right? To make sure we have food, that we do. Rest, we just keep walking to Krishna. I hope you all benefited from today's class. I'm very grateful to have recited all this. Very grateful to all of you present here. So, Granthara Shrimadbhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Any doubts, any questions? A lot of story, lot of things I said today. Lot of time also. First time so long I spoke. Any doubts, any question? Maybe relevant to you, anything, or any sharings you want to do, your life experience?
Yeah, it's the part where you mentioned, when you think about Krishna,
Yes.
all the problems go away when you take it straight to Krishna.
Yes, all the troubles and all the miseries will.
That's definitely been my experience since I've been introduced to Krishna. So it's just a reminder to, any issues that I'm having or anything I'm feeling in my heart is, bring it to Krishna and just surrender, allow Krishna to work it out. He usually works things out very quickly.
Yes. That is true. That is true in many people's heart. So this is why Srila Prabhupada, he gives us this process of Krishna consciousness. This is why he gave us. First we chant 16 rounds and we are supposed to chant it in the morning. What happens? We remember Krishna, right? For all those 2 hours. Now, all those 2 hours of practice, it will remind us throughout the day of Krishna. Now what happens? No trouble, no misery, because we are always reminding of Krishna. And he writes in Nectar Instruction book, the essence of the instruction is to remember, to engage all our senses in the activities of Krishna. 24 hours. Right? This is the essence. So if we follow this essence of the instruction, what happens? No misery, no Maya can attack, nothing can attack, no trouble. But our lifetimes of practice, forgetting Krishna, doing this, doing that, what happens? This practice, because of this practice, we have misery, we have problem, this and that, right? Now Srila Prabhupada gives us very nice process of Krishna consciousness, by which morning we chant, now we remember, we train our mind to remember Krishna. Now we try throughout the day to remember more. Okay, today only this much I could remember, tomorrow I'll try more. I'll try to remember him more. So slowly we just try, we put our effort. When we put our little bit effort, more effort Krishna will put on us. and He will give us what is necessary for us. Like for the life of Narad Muni, like he took his mother away. Krishna took his mother away, right? But was it bad? No, actually it was good. That was needed for Narad Muni. Then he turned to Krishna. So this is whatever is needed for us, he is providing. In Isopanishad also, invocation prayer, we say Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vasishyati. This means Lord is complete, and His creation He is done in such a way that it is complete. So He is providing everybody with whatever it is required for everybody. So there is, we have a thirst, we get water. We have a stomach, we get hungry. We have a food available. Right? If we think about it, we need to breathe every time. Oxygen is all available. Right? So if we really see, Krishna is always providing us things. Right? He's always there with us. So we just remind Him more and more, and all the troubles will go away. I hope all of you do very well and advance in Krishna consciousness. Jai. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.